Chapter 1. The Magnetic Pull. It starts the way all great illusions do, with a spark. They walk into your life like a puzzle piece that's been missing for years. There's something in the way they speak, the way they look at you like they already know your secrets, that makes your heart skip a beat. You feel seen, or at least you think you do. They're charming, but not in the loud, performative way. Their charm is subtle, like a secret waiting to be discovered. They're attentive when they want to be, vulnerable just long enough to make you believe there's more beneath the surface, a wounded soul you were meant to save. There's a quiet ache in them, a distance you can't quite cross. And that mystery, it doesn't repel you, it pulls you in. You mistake their walls for depth, their detachment for depth, their inconsistency for emotional complexity. It's not a red flag. It's a riddle, one you're determined to solve. You tell yourself this is chemistry, destiny, a cosmic connection. But something doesn't sit right. Their warmth comes in flashes, not waves. Their attention feels borrowed, not given. They leave your messages hanging, your mind racing, your heart suspended in a waiting room with no doors. Still, you can't look away. You're not sure why, but something about their absence feels familiar. Like chasing them might finally answer a question you stopped asking long ago. It feels like fate, but is it really? Chapter 2. The Echo of Childhood. You think this is about them, about their coldness, their distance, their inability to meet you halfway. But slowly, silently, the story turns inward. Something about this ache feels familiar. Not just familiar, known, lived, worn into the lining of your nervous system like an old coat. You don't just feel abandoned, you remember it. Maybe it was the parent who was physically there, but emotionally absent. The mother who was too tired, too distracted, too overwhelmed to see the child behind the behavior. Maybe it was the father who loved in silence, who praised achievement but flinched from affection. Or the caregiver who held you only when you were good, quiet, easy to love. Love back then was conditional, earned. And now in the present, you're not just seeking connection, you're seeking resolution. You don't realize it yet, but this person who withholds their love mirrors someone from long ago. And when they pull away, something deep inside you whispers, I knew it. I'm still not enough. That's the trick of trauma. It doesn't always show up in screams or scars. Sometimes it whispers through your choices. It shows up in who you love, who you chase, and who you can't seem to walk away from, no matter how much it hurts. You're not falling for a person, you're falling into a pattern, one that was written before you even knew how to speak. Chapter 3. The High of the Hunt. At first it's thrilling. They're unpredictable, elusive, a puzzle you're dying to solve. One moment they're affectionate, sending late-night texts that make your heart race. The next they vanish into silence, leaving you spiraling through overanalysis and self-doubt. And yet you stay, not because you're naive, but because you're hooked. Every breadcrumb of attention feels like a victory. Every small gesture, a text reply, a soft smile, a vulnerable confession, feels like proof that your love is working, that your patience is paying off, that if you just hold on a little longer, they'll finally choose you. You don't realize you're in a game you never agreed to play, one wired by your own nervous system. The anxiety, the anticipation, the relief when they finally come back around. It's not love you're feeling. It's a chemical cocktail. Dopamine, cortisol, adrenaline. You're not in a relationship. You're in a chase. And the chase feels good, not because it is good, but because it mirrors the old survival dance you learned long ago. Earn affection, tolerate absence, try harder. Deep down, you know something's off. That real love probably isn't supposed to feel like anxiety in disguise. But still, there's that addictive whisper. If I can just get them to stay, it means I'm finally enough. So you double down. You overgive. You overlook. You wait. Not realizing the very pursuit of their love is costing you your own. Chapter 4. The role you didn't know you were playing. You think you're just being patient, compassionate, loyal, but slowly your identity begins to bend. Not into your truest self, but into the version of you that you think they might finally love. You become the fixer, the emotional first responder, the one who always understands even when you're being ignored. You excuse their distance as trauma, their coldness as complexity. You confuse your empathy for intimacy. Every time they withdraw, you lean in. Every time they grow silent, you fill the silence with reassurance, affection, and hope. You tell yourself you're different, that you'll be the one to heal them. But healing someone who won't meet you halfway isn't love. It's self-abandonment dressed up as devotion. You don't know it yet, but you're replaying an old script, cast in a role that began in childhood. Be good, be needed, be perfect. Then maybe you'll be loved. So you shrink your needs, soften your voice, ignore the gnawing ache in your chest. You keep showing up, hoping one day they'll do the same. You tell yourself, if I'm loving enough, patient enough, unshakable enough, they'll finally choose me. But here's the truth. You're not being chosen. You're being used as a placeholder, a mirror, a shield. And you've become so busy playing a role, you've forgotten how it feels to be real. Chapter 5. The puzzle of their silence. They don't ghost you, not completely. That would be too easy to walk away from. No, their silence is more strategic, subtle, confusing. They disappear just long enough to make you question everything, then reappear just in time to keep you from leaving. A hey at midnight, a random story about their day, a compliment when you're pulling away. It's like they know the exact dosage of attention to keep you hooked, and never more. You try to decode it. Maybe they're scared, maybe they're busy, maybe they're healing. You write excuses like poetry, because if you can explain their distance, you don't have to face the truth. They are choosing not to show up. But here's the trap. You see their emotional absence not as a boundary, but as a challenge. Their silence doesn't turn you off. It draws you in. The lack of clarity forces you to imagine depth where there may be none. You fill in the blanks with fantasy, not reality. You give their avoidance meaning, because if you can find the right words, the right actions, the right version of yourself, maybe they'll finally open up. But what if their silence isn't a riddle to solve? What if it's an answer? What if every ignored message, every missed plan, every deflected conversation is them quietly telling you, I am not capable of giving you what you're asking for. You think they're withholding love, but in truth, they may have never had it to give. And the longer you keep trying to earn what should be freely given, the more you silence your own voice in the process. Chapter 6. The familiar pain, expanded. It hurts, but not in a new way. It's not the sharp sting of betrayal or the chaos of sudden heartbreak. No, this pain is quieter, older. It wraps around you like something you've known your whole life, like a lullaby sung in a language only your wounds can understand. The longing, the confusion, the anxiety. You don't just feel it, you recognize it. And somewhere in that ache, there's a twisted kind of comfort. Because when love has always come with distance, distance starts to feel like love. You don't chase them because they're the right person. You chase them because the emotional friction feels familiar. Like trying to earn a parent's attention, like waiting for someone to notice your sadness without having to say a word. That child in you still believes, if I try harder, they'll stay. If I'm perfect, they'll finally love me the way I need. If I don't need too much, maybe they won't leave. But here's the truth your nervous system doesn't yet understand. You're not in love, you're in repetition. You're not bonding, you're reenacting. What feels like chemistry is actually a trauma loop. A pattern your body memorized before your mind could even understand what love was supposed to feel like. And until you recognize that familiarity isn't the same as safety, you'll keep calling your pain passion and wondering why it always ends the same. Chapter 7. The twist. You're not the victim. You're the pattern. Here's where the story flips. Up until now, it's been easy to blame them. The cold one, the distant one, the emotionally unavailable person who never fully shows up. You've been cast as the victim, the one left waiting, hoping, hurting. But the truth? You're not just a victim in this story, you're also the pattern. Somewhere beneath the heartbreak, beneath the longing, lies a deeper truth. You're drawn to emotional unavailability, not despite your pain, but because of it. It's not that you deserve less love. It's that your subconscious mind is wired to seek out the very thing it fears most, because it's familiar. It's a paradox written into your emotional DNA. You don't just attract these people by chance. You magnetize them, even when you don't want to, because in their avoidance, their silence, their distance, you see a reflection of the parts of yourself that you're still afraid to face, the parts that protect you by shutting down, the parts that push love away before it gets too close, the parts that say, if I don't try, I can't fail. This twist doesn't come easily. It's uncomfortable to realize you're complicit in the cycle you despise. But it's also liberating, because recognizing the pattern means you can break it. You're not stuck. You're not doomed. You're simply ready to rewrite your story. Chapter 8. The secret need beneath all the chasing, all the hoping, and all the quiet pain. There's a hidden truth you rarely admit, even to yourself. It's not just love you're craving. It's validation. A desperate, aching need to prove your worth. Not to the world, but to the person who seems impossible to please. You want to be seen? Yes. But more than that, you want to be chosen, needed, wanted in a way that feels undeniable. This need is like a secret current pulling you deeper into the cycle. Because when someone emotionally unavailable gives you even the smallest sign of affection, it feels like winning a prize, a confirmation that you matter. Even if it's fleeting, even if it comes with heartbreak, you don't just want their love, you want their approval. You want to prove to yourself, and maybe to the little child inside, that you are enough, that you are worthy of care without having to beg for it. But here's the catch. When you build your self-worth on the shaky foundation of someone else's emotional availability, you're setting yourself up to feel less every time they pull away. You become addicted to the chase not because of them, but because of the promise it holds. If I can get them to love me, then I'll finally be whole. The truth is, no external love can fill an internal void. You don't need someone to complete you. You need to complete yourself. And the moment you start to meet your own need for validation inside, the magnetic pull to the unavailable begins to lose its power. Chapter 9. The Mirror Moment. And then, the hardest truth of all. You look into the mirror, expecting to find the person who's been hurt, waiting, hoping. But what stares back at you isn't just the wounded lover. It's the person who's been holding themselves at arm's length, afraid to be truly seen. The most emotionally unavailable person in your story might be you. Not because you're cold or uncaring, but because you've built walls, brick by brick, to protect yourself from the pain of being vulnerable. You've learned to hide your deepest fears, mask your needs, and silence your voice, all in the name of self-preservation. You tell yourself that opening up means risking rejection, so you hold back. You create distance before anyone else can. You wear armor so well that even you forget what it's like to be soft. This isn't a failure, it's survival. But survival has a cost. It keeps you from the very intimacy you crave. In this mirror moment, everything shifts. You realize the push-pull, the chasing, the heartbreak. It's not just about the other person's inability to love. It's about your own fear of truly loving and being loved. This isn't about blame. It's about awakening. Because when you finally see your own emotional unavailability, you gain the power to change it. You start to ask, what if I could be the person I've been waiting for? What if I could show up for myself the way I want to be shown up for? The mirror doesn't lie, but it also offers a way forward. Chapter 10. Breaking the Cycle. Your new story begins. This is the turning point. The moment when the old story ends and a new one begins. Breaking the cycle isn't about finding someone else to fix you. It's about fixing the relationship with the one person who's been there all along. You. It means choosing yourself, your needs, your boundaries, your worth, over the familiar ache of chasing someone who can't meet you halfway. It means learning to love without losing yourself, to hold your heart tenderly, even when it feels raw. It won't be easy. There will be days when the pull of the old pattern feels like gravity, heavy and relentless. But every time you choose differently, you reclaim a little more of your power. You start to attract different people. Not because you change them, but because you've changed how you show up in the world. You become the partner you were searching for, whole, available, and ready. And here's the most beautiful secret. The love you seek in others already lives inside you. You don't need to be saved. You need to be seen by yourself. And when you finally see your own worth, the magnetic pull toward emotional unavailability loses its hold. Your new story isn't about finding the perfect person. It's about becoming the person who can finally receive the love you deserve. And that, more than anything, is the greatest love story you'll ever live.